Hey, how's it going, bud?
Wow, holy shit. Yeah, it's going fine. Thank you for asking. How about
Awesome.
you?
I'm doing okay. Just finished work and had some dinner, so I'm ready to go.
Oh, nice. That's gonna sound great.
Yeah.
Can't wait to hear that.
All right. So, are you ready for the state of the art tutorial?
State of the art tutorial. Let's go, man. Oh man, that is so great. Yeah, I'm happy to. Like, I feel honored that you actually want to help me with this. That's kind of a like
Well,
I don't know what to say. I'd say I have nobody has done this before, like for me. So that's kind of like I'm happy for that.
that's wonderful. Yeah, I mean, you're the one that reached out to me, right? Because I think it was in one of the live streams I said, "Hey, anyone who wants to learn how to make mashups, reach out to me," and you reached out to me. So,
Yeah, yeah.
like, I will give anyone 100% of my time if they have the interest. So, by all means, I'm excited to finally get to talk to you in person. I feel like you're like a legend in
Likewise.
the world of mashups because everyone knows who you are. Uh,
Really? Because
yeah.
okay, because I know like many mashup artists, but I also make comments, but I've never like felt like as a part of it, more like of a a fan, and I'm like okay, fair enough. I just like write comments, and I don't know if many mashups know me that well, other than you and maybe Shoop and other stuff, other
Yeah,
people, but I don't know.
Shootfex knows you. A lot of people in West knows you. I remember seeing one of your comments in a tweet that ToonLink had posted a long time ago. Um, yeah,
Wait, he did?
yeah,
What? Okay.
ToonLink. I don't know what name ToonLink goes by now. I think it's No Squist, but yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
you said it was a highlight of your comment. Is like, oh, it's comments like these that make my day, and by all means, like,
Really? Okay.
excellent stuff.
I'm
So
interested. Yeah.
yeah, I'm
Yeah, I mean,
glad.
I know Toon Link, but yeah, you're right. I don't know what his name is now.
Yeah.
That's great.
So, welcome to the tutorial, and I'm sure you have the screen open on your end. Yeah.
Yeah, the visual DJ. Yeah.
Perfect. So I'm on ultra low latency. So anything that I like, you might have to listen to the video a little bit, but it should for the most part be kind of coherent. So the tutorial I made for you earlier is just kind of like a summary of what we're going to be talking about. But the best thing about having a live tutorial is if you have any questions, you can ask me in real time and all that.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So first off, I know you have a wide range in music tastes, and I think the most important thing about making mashups is to have fun and mix music that you like. Um, it's one of those things where some people will mix music that they don't really like, and they make stuff that they're not too happy with. And honestly, like, what improves a mashup artist is them uh, kind of surrounding themselves with the music that they like, and playing with it and seeing it in a different way. So, um, as you might know, music has different speeds to it. You have slow songs, and you have fast songs, and normal paced songs, and all that. There's this thing called tempo, which is how fast. I mean, well, the speed of a song is the tempo of the song. So
Okay, beats per
I'm
minute.
sure.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So you're already familiar with the terminology. So beats per minute.
Yeah.
So when you tap your foot to a song, that's how many times you tap your foot to the song in 1 minute.
Yes.
Yeah. So a lot of electronic music, from years back, it was like 128 beats per minute. So it's kind of like that.
Mhm.
A good way to kind of envision it is a lot of the time the speed of a song will kind of be determined by the percussion. But sometimes, if there's not really a percussion, sometimes if it's an acapella, even vocal performances, acapella have a rhythm to it, have a tempo to it. And you'll find that a lot of music that's produced nowadays has a very consistent tempo. It's a rounded off number. In that let's say you have like 100 beats per minute, it's perfectly at 100. Whereas with songs that are recorded live, might have different tempo variations. Because if you have a drummer, the drummer's not going to perform like a robot. It's a human behind it, so there might be some percussion elements that come in a little earlier, a little later, or something like that. But it's really important to to kind of understand that sometimes there's music that has like tempo changes, and sometimes music that are kind of produced in a studio and are very consistent. So I'm just gonna pull up a song here. I'm gonna pull up Sunflowers. Well, actually, no, not Sunflower. Happier. Uh,
Oh,
you know the song Happier, right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I quickly went through your state of the art playlist and
yeah.
tried to find some music that you knew. So I saw you liked one of these songs. So um, I loaded it into Virtual DJ. You don't have to follow along exactly like what I'm doing on the screen, but just know that there are two decks. There's the left deck and the right deck. And oftentimes when a DJ goes into a club and they want to play music, they're not just going to end one song and start another one. People in a club setting and even on the radio, they like to have things constantly changing because they just want to be exposed to the best parts of a song, or they just want to get through as many songs through the night as possible to make everyone happy. So where was I going with this? I don't know. But yeah, DJs, what they would do, they'll play one song on one deck and then they'll transition to the second song. In the case of a mashup, it's like both songs playing at the same time, which makes things rather difficult because there's a difference between a mix and a mashup. A mix is more like a continuous thing that kind of, it starts from one place. For example, you listen to the radio sometimes, do you?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so sometimes they have like those mixes.
Continuous mixes, yeah, where they switch from one song to another song and like trying to seem them overlap in some way.
Yep, and the people that can make it really, that can do a great job with mixes can make those transitions very seamless. And a lot of the times when people make mixes, the personality or the person, the personality is not only in the song choice, it's in the transition itself. Because that's the part of the person mixing the music. That's the part that matters. That's the part that they actually have their hand in it. With mashups, you have your hand throughout the whole thing. It's the songs that you select, and it's also how well the songs go together and any sort of editing that you do on top of it. So I'm just gonna play this song. You can listen to the stream now, and I'm just
Yeah.
gonna talk about the tempo. The time signature. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is called a 4/4 time signature. That means that when I was counting 1, 2, 3, 4, that's one section of a song. So that's the first four, and the second four is every 4 times that something happens, a new thing happens mostly. So to make that more clear, you had in this song you have it's 4/4, so you have 4 beats, and then those 4 beats make a bar, right? So
Yeah,
1, 2,
usually in rap, it's kind of the same.
yeah,
So in rap, you have like a bar where you like, you not repeat, but like you have like a rap part, and then you're gonna repeat the same beat, but have another lyric over it, I guess.
exactly. Yeah, so that's very much relevant. And if it's 4/4, that means every 16 beats, there's going to be something that might change in the song. And I find this is a great example because in the first you have the 4/4, like the 4 beats of the piano. So you have like 16 here, and then you're going to do another 16. And they added some snaps, so they're going to do that for another 16. And then here comes the kick drum. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. So it's like every 4. Yeah, so that's how a lot of music is structured. And you'll find that in mashups, sometimes the vocals are a lot longer than the instrumental, or vice versa. And that's where the editing happens, is to make something seamless, like it belongs together. That's the absolute basics. So I like this song because it can tell the idea very clearly as to how it's structured. Now, there are different kind of classifications, different categories of this. You'll have an intro, like a lot of songs will have an introduction. They'll have verses, choruses, a bridge, and an outro. A lot of pop songs will follow that. So intro, self-explanatory. It's the beginning of the song. Sometimes it'll begin with instrumental. Sometimes it'll begin with vocals. Anything. The verse is like the part after the intro, where they go in, and these might be more lyrically heavy parts, and might have more variation, but doesn't really have all of the instrumentation in there. So any song that you listen to, you could probably identify what the verse is. Let's.
Chorus and like yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're familiar with the chorus, and choruses are also called hooks as well. So if you have a chorus, the chorus is often like a repeating element. It's a part that the producers or musicians want people to sing along to, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of pop songs will have a very catchy chorus. So that all the teenagers can sing along in the car.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Like a good ear catcher thing, so they can catch it by ear and repeat it on stage or something. Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah, and then you'll have a second verse and then another chorus, and because people get familiar with the structure of the song. All of this deals with song structure, and you'll find that in mashups, song structure is kind of a delicate thing. You need to know the fundamentals before you break it apart. So there are, after a second chorus, there might be a bridge. Now, a bridge is, as it seems, it's something that spans something. So it's like, it could be a portion after the second chorus that will lead to the last chorus. Sometimes it has a lower energy to it, or it might focus more on instrumentation, so that when the final chorus comes, it just blows everyone away. So a bridge will often do that. Now, for things like electronic music, where the climax of a song, or what people might call as the drop, the chorus isn't where the most energy is. It might be in a pre-chorus. Now, a pre-chorus is as, it's as expected. By the way, I'm going to have this stream archived, so you don't have to worry about, taking notes or anything. But, yeah, so there's like, sometimes you'll have a pre-chorus, which is like a build-up. It is like a build-up towards a chorus. And that's essentially it. So, we're going to go through the fundamentals of the software now. So, actually, one thing that I want to add with song structure, sometimes, like, you'll find that successful mashups will have a chorus that sticks with you, or will have verses that work really nicely. Sometimes when people don't have that fundamental knowledge of song structure, sometimes pieces of a verse might get caught in the chorus, or pieces of chorus might be caught where the verse is, or maybe sometimes the instrumental might have a few extra beats in there before it leads to the actual chorus, and then the chorus starts early and then everything goes off sync. Now, synchronization. Synchronization is the aspect of mixing music that both songs are the same speed. If I have a song that's 100 beats per minute and a song that's 110 beats per minute, when you play both of them at the same time, there's going to be discord. There's going to be like this confusion. The beats aren't going to line up. The words they don't work whatsoever. So, having the music synced up, there's no and ifs or buts about that. I feel that mashups, like the one absolute fundamental rule of mashups is synchronizing music. That is like there are liberties and certain freedoms that you can have with structure, but when it comes to syncing, it absolutely needs to be in sync, unless you have an insane design move that you want to do. But for the basics of it, it's really good to have everything align. Now, there's a difference between having things off sync and having things off beat. You can have something that's in sync but be off beat, which means that the speeds might be correct, but let's say that maybe you start your vocals a few beats early or a few beats late, And the people, sometimes if people don't really know the song, they'll interpret that as normal. But for the people that actually know the song, they'll listen to it and be like, something's wrong.
Hmm.
So there's
So
certain.
wait, does it make sense? So usually the formula or what you would call it, like it would be like if you have one 4x4 song,
Mhm.
that would usually mix better with another like 4x4 lyric or a cappella.
Yes. Now, the great thing about a lot of music nowadays, a lot of it is in 4/4, which means that, every four, like a verse might have like multiple bars, which means that you might have like 32 or 64
Hmm.
beats. Because you have 4 times 4 is like 16, and then you might have another version, and then that goes to 32, and maybe it's a long verse and it goes to 64. So yeah, a lot of times you're going to be working with 4/4 just because of the way that music is in this day and age. A lot of music is in 4/4, so you shouldn't have too much of a problem with it. When you go, there are other time signatures as well. There's 3/4 instead of 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. It's 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. So there, and then sometimes even crazier. There's 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5. Pretty wacky. Or
5x4.
yeah,
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
or sometimes you might have a 4/3, which is like 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 change. Something changes, and then it goes 1 2 3 4.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
a lot of times you'll be working with 4/4. Um,
Okay.
the only mashup artist that I'm really familiar with that does 3/4 stuff is Naki Naiko, but it is very very difficult to convert a 4/4 song into a 3/4 and all that stuff. So I hope that makes sense with time signatures. Does
Yeah, that
that
makes sense. Yeah.
perfect? So what's another thing? So when I explained things being off beat versus off sync, does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it does. Like, as I said before, like you can, in theory, oh, I don't know if you call it theory, but like you can combine in general with like a 4x4 song with a 3x4, for example. Maybe with a 5x4, maybe.
Yeah.
That's possible, but it's like very hard to do. So like
Yes.
you would make, what if they don't go off sync, but also in terms of beats per minute. So like as I understood it, like I understand it is like you have two songs, and if they don't have the same beats per minute in general, it's gonna be off sync.
Yes.
That is the two factors, I guess. Uh, yeah, that might affect the synchronization of the songs.
Yes. Interestingly, a 4/4 song and a 3/4 could be the same beats per minute. However, in the 3/4 song, you might have things constantly, it changes in areas that you don't want it to change in the instrumental, and vice versa. Oh wait, status in air. Whoever you're talking to is incredibly quiet on my end. Okay, let me see if I can.
Oh, it's probably me.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I
So
have your
hold on.
volume maxed out right now. Actually, let me see if I can raise it further.
Okay, maybe I should turn off my microphone. Give me a sec here.
That'd be awesome. Also, thanks,
And
Statusinator. So, oh, actually,
yeah, what you should have said that before. I could actually have done that.
oh, okay,
Uh,
wait, no, it's on me. It's on me. My Discord was very low.
oh, I
Um,
see. Okay.
okay, Statusinator, how's that? I hope that's
Yeah,
better.
kind of. You have to wait for the delay, but I guess yeah.
Yeah,
Oh shit! I can't like properly turn up my.
I think I fixed it, so I think that should be good now.
Wait, let me try this.
Sure.
Yeah, it's not like you can hear me.
I can hear an improvement, but only marginal. Okay, let me try to
Oh, okay.
raise it even higher. Hold on. Let me,
Just
d-
like go ear rape mode.
that's okay. Okay,
Uh,
maybe that's better.
an improvement, but all my. Oh, okay. So give me a sec here. Give me just.
Yeah, just blast that shit.
Yeah, exactly. Just give me a sec here. Sound settings. No. God damn it, Windows 10. Uh,
Now I can make out what he says at least. Well, it should be okay. Wait, let me. You know what? Let me just blast the shit out of OBS. Okay, I don't think you need to do any changes. You should be perfectly fine now.
oh, okay. Okay. So hopefully, yes, Status Nader can hear me.
Yeah. Well, I
Uh,
mean, it's more for your learning as well, so that you
yeah,
can
yeah,
see
of
what
course.
questions
Yeah, so I can actually know. Okay, now it's good. Okay, at least
Perfect.
now I can like also hear myself in the stream. I actually didn't hear myself in stream.
Oh shoot. Okay. So this is
Okay,
a
but
good
yeah, I
indicator.
could. Yeah, I can now. I can now. Yeah,
Great. We are on the right
yeah, I can
track.
now. Yes,
Perfect.
yes, yes.
Perfect.
When I just saw the stream, listened to the stream, it makes sense now. It works.
Wonderful. So, um, you don't really need to worry about time signatures right now. When you start
Yeah.
mixing music, you'll see like, if you do stumble upon a 3/4 time signature song and you start mixing the music, you're gonna be like, wait a second, why are things changing in the vocals or changing in the instrumental when it's not really working with the like it's just something that you'll just pick up naturally. Like when you hear it, you'll be like, huh, this doesn't really sound like a proper song. Um, so that's one aspect of it. But having things off beat, it could be the same speed, but you might start like some vocals early. Like let's say you're listening to a mashup with a vocal track that you're very familiar with, and then all of a sudden, the instrumental isn't really, jiving with it. It doesn't speak the same language. So there's
Yeah.
being on sync, on beat, and then the other one is on key. Now, key is a very difficult thing for a lot of people. It often takes people years to develop. Like some people are just naturally very good at detecting key. So let's say you're doing karaoke with some friends, and someone starts singing, and it just doesn't sound good. That's because they're not in key. That's because music, whenever a lot of very standard music will operate within a key, which means that okay, have you ever pressed notes on a piano?
Yeah, yeah, I have.
Yeah, so there's a certain combination of notes, and
That
those
makes
com
that makes a chord.
yep,
Like,
it
yeah.
could make a chord. And even when it's vocals, a vocalist may sing a certain note, and those notes will often repeat themselves in standard music. These notes will repeat themselves, and for example, if we talk about something like C major, you only have the white notes to work with. So on a
Mhm.
piano, you're only pressing the white notes, and those are the notes that repeat throughout the whole song, for the most part, right? So if an instrumental is playing the same notes and vocals are playing the same notes, are singing the same notes, then you have a mashup that is in key. Now,
Yeah.
there are ways to deal with it from a theory perspective, and if you were to work with Japanese music, you'll need to know some degree of theory to make it work. But for pop music, it's often very safe in that it's going to stick with one key, and at most they may do one key change, but we'll get into that later. For now, when you're first making mashups, it's whatever sounds good. That's a huge thing. It's like, this sounds better than the other thing, and then like that's the whole kind of fundamental to it. So, with your eyes on the screen now, I have the
Yeah.
instrumental, and let's just talk a little bit about Virtual DJ. If we go up here and use our scroll wheel, we can make it smaller or we can make it bigger. Scrolling down zooms it in. Now, you see that there are these little rectangles and squares. So
Yes.
above where things are kind of fuzzy, that is the waveform. That is the visual representation of sound that Virtual DJ tries to communicate to you. Um, because sound is air particles vibrating, and our ears, it hits our eardrums, and our ears interpret that as music. And things that particles that vibrate, they vibrate at different speeds, and that's frequency. But that's another lesson for another time. But for now, Virtual DJ understands music as a series of like shapes here. Now, when I was talking about time signature, you'll see that Virtual DJ has put in rectangles and squares. Rectangles are the first count, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the 2, 3, and 4 are these small squares. Okay? So this right here in this instrumental, it's doing its best to try to find out, where the thing starts. So it kind of automatically put the rectangle at the first, waveform. But that doesn't always mean that that's the first count. let's actually look at. Remember, you know how I was talking to you about beats and how percussion kind of works with it. Look over here. Look over here.
Yeah.
This is a beat. A beat is like a lot of, it's a frequency that is very bunched together that hits at the same time. So that's where percussion comes from. It's like, it's like a kick drum or a clap. It's a very sharp spike in sound. And, if we listen to it, and you'll see they put the kick drum, which is kind of a boo, like a thud, like a.
Yeah.
So that's a kick drum, and you can see that in this thing they put a kick drum on the first count, and they put a kick drum on another one count, a 1 and a 1. So you'll see like, oh, there's kick drums there. Now, Virtual DJ does its best to try to figure out what's going on with the tempo. So Virtual DJ is pretty decent in that it says that this is 100 beats per minute. You can tap your foot 100 times in this in 1 minute of this song. Now, sometimes Virtual DJ doesn't get it correct. So let's go to here. I'm gonna use the acapella for Sunflower. If Virtual DJ says, "Oh, I think this is 89.98 beats per minute," you won't have tempos that are like that in studio recordings. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna right click on beats per minute, and it's gonna open up this window, and you're gonna want to adjust it and round it. So if it's like a 9899.01.02, it's gonna go to the whole number. And sometimes when you're working with what do you call it? When you're working with live, music, it'll be like 0.7 or something, but that's actually what it is when it comes to live music, if that makes any sense, because drummers are humans and they can
Makes sense, yeah.
Yeah. So let's listen to the stream for now. Actually, let's listen to the song Sunflower. I'm just gonna go to Post Malone's verse here.
Then you're left in the dust.
Okay.
Every time I'm leaving on you.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, you'll notice that when I was counting 1, 2, 3, 4, the rectangles didn't align. The number 1 didn't align with what I was counting. So just to look at it again, by the way, if you press A up here, this goes to this deck over here. This is the blue. You go to B, this is deck B, this is the red. So focus your attention on the red, and we're going to listen to Post Malone's part. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if I wanted to get this correct, and by the way, sometimes if you're listening to an acapella you're not too familiar with, it's always best to listen to the original song to see which words fall on which number. The 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, very important to see. Now, so this is actually where this little square here is. You're gonna right click on the beats per minute button and press -1/4. And now up here, it has moved the rectangle to the number 1 position. Now we're gonna see if that's correct at some point, but we're gonna go through with it. We're gonna go to the second verse, and we're going to play the instrumental, and we're gonna try to align it with Post Malone's part. Hold on, wait. Okay. Okay, listen to this. So I'm just gonna try to fiddle around with it to make it sound like it's aligned. Okay, so you saw how the rectangles were aligned with each other and that it was in sync. It's in sync and it's on beat. Now, it doesn't sound super good. Maybe it's the quality of that cappella, but it doesn't sound super good because it wasn't in key, and that's just a thing that you develop over time through your ears. I did several movements on Virtual DJ, and you'll kind of see. So when I was trying to get the music to line up, I was kind of like going like that. You can go like that. There's also the play button. You play the instrumental, you play the vocals, and there's also the synchronize button. From my perspective, I recommend pressing the locks above the play button, the key lock, and the hot cue lock just because. I just recommend that because it makes mixing music a lot easier. So I'm gonna show you that in the middle, this is the crossfader. It's like, it's kind of like you cross the music, you fade one song into another. So it's in the middle right now, which means that it's playing from both the left deck and the right deck. So let's say I'm playing an instrumental. So I dragged it to the right, which means that it's playing the right deck, which means I don't have anything playing, so that's why it's quiet. But then I'm going to shift it to the left. And now it's only playing sounds from the left deck, which means that if I play anything from the right deck, you don't hear anything. That's how it works. And then to bring it back to the middle, double left click. So you have volumes here. You have the left deck volume and the right deck volume. Self-explanatory, right?
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
You have this knob up here. This is the gain, and this is the gain as well. This is like another version of volume. And sometimes, you might want to go a little louder, go a little quieter. But, having a mashup, because sometimes a mistake that mashup artists have in their early days, they focus so much on the vocals that the vocals become really loud and the instrumentals really quiet. It's kind of like you want to take a step back and listen to it as a song. Status in there. I always like to bind the crossfader to arrow keys left, down, and right.
Down and right.
Interesting. I've never done that, but yeah, I guess you could do that.
Yeah, okay.
I've never done any binding before, but that's a great idea. So I'm just gonna show you what else is there. So these are the decks. You can do some scratching. Not really useful for now. Sampler, that's just like sound effects and stuff. Effects over here, you can do reverb. And then you can just check out a whole bunch of different stuff here. That's just stuff to play around with. Typically, you might not use these in a mashup because you're not going to really be making mashups with Virtual DJ. But this is just to play around with music. Here we have a filter. That's just another effect. And here we have key. Now, remember when I was talking about having songs in key? It's like taking a singer who's singing a certain combination of notes and making them sing the notes of the instrumental, or vice versa, and make the instrumental the same keys as the singer, hit the same notes as the singer, to make it sound like it was all intentionally done. So if I have the vocals here, I'm gonna pitch it down. Sounds pretty wacky. Pitch it up and nightcore it. So here is the search bar. If you press it and you type in a song, it'll look over to the left and be like, oh, I'm looking through Lucas's music folder, and it'll search all the songs in the music folder. If you just want to do everything, you just press space and then you have all of your songs. Now, when you first get Virtual DJ, you'll only have the title and the artist of the song. For the sake of mashups, it's very important to have the beats per minute and key. Virtual DJ is great at determining beats per minute, but it's not the best at getting key. But still, it's better than nothing. So what you do, you might have the album art up here. You don't need that. You literally just click here and drag it. Get rid of that. You don't care about that. Right click on the bar, and you're going to see a whole bunch of different things like year, bitrate, first play, last play, all that jazz. You're going to want beats per minute and key. and you should see it there, and that means you can sort by beats per minute. So it's saying that, hey, your slowest song is 50 beats per minute, Lucas, and you go down, it's like, oh, here's some songs that are 89 beats per minute. So there's less speed changes involved. Sometimes when people listen to a mashup, like let's say you're listening to a mashup of a song that you know and that you like, but the vocals are very fast or very slow. Sometimes it doesn't fully feel right. Like that's a thing to consider. And with key, of course, is making the singers sing the notes that the instrumental are playing. So that's that. And here we have loop, this thing here. It's really cool because you can just loop songs over and over again. It's literally as explained. So if you go to the first count of a rectangle, like kind of like I dragged it here, and I just say, hey, I want you to loop 8 counts, 8 beats, right? If I press the 8 here and I press play,
it's actually going to go 8 times. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so it just keeps repeating itself. And this technique, looping, can be good to get the structure of a song, of both songs together. For example, if a singer has a really long, okay, wait. Let's say an instrumental has a very short verse, but the singer's verse is a lot longer. You can loop certain parts of the instrumental to fit the structure of the vocals. Or sometimes you can even edit out some of the vocals to fit the structure of the instrumental, so that you can have your verses aligned, you can have your choruses aligned, and everything. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Perfect. So sometimes mashups aren't entirely the exact length of the song, but it's it can be longer, it can be shorter, and a lot of that has to do with structuring. Now, this bar right here is the speed. Typically, you won't be adjusting it here. You would often have one song in one deck, and then you would just press synchronize on the other. So if I'm at 124 beats per minute, I can press synchronize, and it goes to 124 beats per minute, and all that stuff. If you're dealing with, also you can double click this pitch, this tempo reset, and it'll just go back to its normal tempo. Okay. Key lock is important because you don't want to, because naturally when you speed songs up, they get higher pitched, and there's a science behind that. But software engineers and audio engineers have found ways to lock a key in place, and you always want to have it locked in place to the original, because there are certain notes, like for example, the A note on a piano, which is like letters. Notes on a piano are represented by letters, and if you have note A, which I can show you later on the piano, it resonates at 440 hertz. But if you start messing with the pitch and very small increments, it just doesn't sound right at all, because the A is no longer at 440 hertz, and everything just gets shuffled around. But you don't need to know that unless you're doing some crazy pitch stuff. But for the most part, you're going to always want your instrumental and your a cappella in like a perfect pitch, like a perfect key. Now, let's go to hot cues. Hot cues are really
just a quick
great.
question.
Yes.
So it's like when you say perfect pitch, you mean like a perfect key? Do you mean like it doesn't need to be a major or a minor or something like that? It needs to be A, just in general, you mean?
Well, yeah, the individual note itself. The individual
okay.
note. So, for example, like how some guitarists, that when they're playing a thing, they're like turning the the head of the guitar.
They're
tuning
the
it.
guitar.
Yes, so that it's all in perfect key. It's all in perfect pitch. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's all at the frequency that. Yeah. So that's essentially what it is. Because if you have a note that isn't tuned properly, it just sounds really weird. It's kind of like an out of tune piano. It sounds really wonky. That is called detuning. But anyways, a lot of songs will work in perfect pitch. A lot of Western songs. Now, we have hot cue up here. Hot cue is really good in kind of saying, hey, I want to jump to this part of the song really quickly. Let's say I want to have the verse of this song. So let's go and... So let's say the verse... Actually, let's go to the second verse of the song. Okay, here's the climax. 2, 3, 4. So here is the first count, the first beat of the second verse. So, you know, if you listen to 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you'll notice that in the verse, you know, a lot of the instrumentation kind of goes away to signify that, you know, there's a change in the instrumental. So what I did was I pressed hot Q and I just assigned a number to it. And then I got the hot Q, number 1, on, oh shit, am I bleeding? What the fuck? How the hell? My knee is bleeding. I don't even have a cut there. What the hell? Okay, anyways.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. I didn't realize I had a freaking cut on my... Anyways. That's weird. Okay, so I have Q1 on the second verse, the first count of the second verse. Now, let's say I want to have Post Malone start singing at this part. Also, this here, this colorful bar here, is the entire song. And you can actually just click around it to jump to different parts of the song. Okay, so... Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So, notice here, I'm going to put the 1 where the rectangle is. Notice how the first count didn't actually have any vocals in that one instance. Some mashup artists will think, oh, as soon as I hear a vocal, you know, a vocal segment, that has to be the first count. But that's not always the case. In this case, count 1 was actually quiet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. For some reason, this acapella doesn't have that part. For some reason, I don't know why. But let's see. Like if you can align Q1 on the left deck and Q1 on the right deck. So let's actually drag this back a little bit. We're gonna take the instrumental, drag this back, and then because we put the lock button on this, we can just play it and then the cues will line up. You just gotta wait a little bit and press it. Sync up. Okay, so that's how to synchronize music. And that is a lot of what Mashups is just, you know, the very basics that I showed you here. Now, this song wasn't actually in key. This mashup wasn't in key, and the only, like, it sounds pretty decent, but, you know, it's only through years of ear training that you can, you know, figure out what sounds right and what sounds wrong. Some people are just naturally good at it. Some people have to, you know, spend more time with it. For example, you know Mahado, right? Yeah, so Mahado, he never really paid attention to key. Like, I was with Mahado when both of us were under 100 subscribers, and he remade his channel 3 times, and, you know, because he made a whole bunch of mashups that he didn't like, and he didn't know why he didn't like it. They were in sync, they were all correct, but they weren't in key. And because he works with a lot of idol master music, there's a lot of key involved. Now, I can teach you music theory at a later time, but I'm just going to kind of play the first count, and I'm just gonna take the key and pitch it up. Now this is actually in key now.
But now it sounds a bit more key in terms of like the key. But that's because we turned up the key for the vocals.
Yes, we turned it up. Now, you know, it might sound weird, but from a music theory perspective, it is technically correct. But now, you know...
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, just go on.
Yeah, so that I have made all of the notes align in that because, you know, there's like a certain sequence of notes, and when you get them to align with the instrumental, even though it might sound chipmunky and weird, it's technically correct. Now, what some people will do is that they'll pitch down an like in my case, they might pitch down an instrumental. See, right now, even though this instrumental says F minor, it's not actually F minor, it's in D minor, but we'll get into that later. Key, I'm going to pitch it down by 1 semitone. Now, every time you pitch something by 1, that is called a semitone. I can get into the theory of that later, but let's just say you're pitching it down by 1. Yeah. Just say, oh, I pitched down by 1. who dares interrupt me and call me during this tutorial? TD Canada. No, I don't need you. Okay, so I pitched the instrumental down by 1, which means I can take my acapella and hey Bichika, how's it going, bud? And I can take the acapella and pitch it down by 1. Now the instrumental might sound a little lower, but the vocals won't sound so chipmunky. So let's play this right now.
Every time I'm leaving on you, make it easy.
Here you go.
Wish I could be there for you. Give me a reason to.
Aha.
Whoa. Okay. I never thought of that. Actually, I would actually think you would just change the key for the instrumental only, and then like make that, because usually when you key up and down for the vocals, you can see or hear rather the change more apparent.
Yes.
More apparent rather than just being like but you couldn't hear it for the. You usually wouldn't hear it for the instrumental. But that's maybe just me. I don't know.
So it really depends on the person mixing it. Some people will pitch instrumentals however they want to. Now, when you pitch an instrumental too much, it sounds kind of messy. It doesn't sound that clean. It doesn't sound very good. I'm sure you've listened to mashups where the instrumental is, or the vocals is in a completely different thing. It just sounds really messy. That's all to the discretion of the mashup artist. Now, when you have key, I pitched the key on both of these to kind of find a medium, because it's like, oh, if I have my instrumental in the original, my vocals are too high. But if I bring the instrumental down a little bit, I can bring my vocals down a little bit, and they can meet at a happy medium, right? They can kind of work together without sounding too chipmunky. This technique a lot of mashup artists will do. Like for example, have you ever heard Naki Naiko's mashup "It's Real Yo"?
No, actually.
Okay,
maybe I have, but I don't know if it's that called.
Yeah, no problem. So sometimes they'll pitch shift mashups so that the vocals don't sound too weird and all that. That is the basics, but of course for now you're just going to be playing with it and you're just going to be doing it all by ear. And this combination that I showed you with Happier and Sunflower, this is actually a mashup that was made by.
I'm pretty sure I heard it somewhere before. So I'm. Yeah, freaking knew it.
Yeah, it's a very, very popular mashup.
Popular. I'm like, I don't know who the original is, and it's not like it matters, but it's like. It makes sense because it's kind of easy example of how easy it is to mix two songs together.
Yes. Now,
so it's kind of fun. Yeah.
Interesting thing is that this mashup, like the popular mashup, it's a lot more editing than just the instrumental and the acapella. There's actually a lot more editing in it. But we can go into that later when we start working with software like FL Studio. But for now, I think I have given you enough tools to play with music. One more thing. A little pro tip.
Yeah.
Okay, in the search bar, I forgot to mention this. If you have all of your songs in, all of your things in your folder, if you want to quickly analyze all the beats per minute in the keys, just click, and then you just scroll down, click, hold shift, left click, and then, you select a whole bunch of them, right click, and scan for beats per minute, and then it'll just do it all for you. So I had 9,300 files, and when I went to my new computer, I had to literally wait hours to scan it all.
Oh my god! Okay.
Yeah. So this is a great way. So it's great to work with similar beats per minute, and it's great to work with similar keys because you don't have to pitch vocals too much. You don't have to speed up or slow down songs too much. And when you said that. You notice it more when the vocals are pitched versus, you notice it less when the instrumental is pitched. When we go deeper into production theory, you'll find that, there are some things that you don't want to really pitch shift and some things that you want to preserve. But at the end of the day, it's all to the discretion of the mashup artist. So that's, that is the absolute fundamental. If you want to make a song 1 plus song 2 mashup, syncing, having things on beat, and having things in key, and having things structured properly. So, how we talked about all of these things, verses aligning, choruses aligning, speeds aligning, key aligning, structure aligning, all of that makes a good song 1 plus song 2 mashup. And a lot of the time, it's trial and error. With me, so with a lot of mashup artists out there, they go from an idea in their head and they go directly into the project file. Whereas with me, I'm not too good at doing that. So I literally experiment with Virtual DJ. And Virtual DJ is great at experimenting and is good for, doing quick little tests and just playing with music. Because, you've seen my live streams. I literally just open Virtual DJ and just start playing around. And that's what finds, neat combinations. Now, it all depends on how you want to work with mashups. Like, if you want to, just mix whatever you want. If you want to mix meme stuff, mix meme stuff. If you want to, make pop mashups, A-okay too. Make pop mashups. But, it's the fundamentals of it that carry through over and over again. This is kind of like a large info dump, but do you have any kind of questions for me? Could be anything that we talked about.
Yeah. One question I have, which was, it is that over at the beats per minute for each song, you can see a star in front of them. What does that indicate?
So sometimes they don't actually explain what that star means. I have always assumed that it thinks it's 80 beats per minute. Now,
it's a guess thing.
Like it's more of a guess, and the reason why it's more of a guess is because there might be tempo changes. So if you have a song that goes from 80 beats per minute to 90, Virtual DJs are like, I don't know what the hell's going on. So that's why I might put a star and be like, hey, I don't really know.
It's kind of an estimate thing.
That's what I think it is. I don't actually know what it does.
Okay, no, that's fair. I'm not expecting you to know everything. So it's more like I was just like a curious thing that I didn't know what it was.
I've used Virtual DJ for over a decade. I still don't know what that means.
Okay, funny. That's funny.
One more thing. If you want to quickly, because a long time ago, I made all of my mashups using Virtual DJ, and all of my mashups had to be made live, which was absolutely painful, because if I screw up, I have to redo the recording. Just letting you know, there is a record feature here. So you have browser, which is the music, and you go to record. You can start recording. When you press start recording, it'll say, hey, first, configure. Also, I think more recent version. Yes, elastic beat grids. Actually, I haven't seen that. I used an outdated version, but yeah. Hey, Dominator, how's it going, bud?
I've actually seen the new version. It's kind of interesting to see how the interface can be changed.
Yep.
Yeah, the
interface is different, but the reason why I brought you on Virtual DJ 7 first is because in the later versions of Virtual DJ, it's harder to, it's less convenient to change the key of a song. And there's a lot of other complex stuff. So when you want to go to recording, you go to configuration, and it says, hey, where do you want to put your audio file? And, you just choose the file folder. You press the little dots, and then, you say, hey, I want to go do there. What kind of audio file do you want? For now, just keep it MP3, 320 kilobytes per second. You don't need the encoder or whatever. You just literally leave it as is, and you press OK. And when you press start recording, it'll start, writing into a file. And then, you just play your audio, and it just records whatever you're playing on the decks. So, do you have any other questions?
Actually, no. Because I think the thing you just told me, everything you just told me, actually makes sense, and it is like a great basic startup. Great basic startup to get around and experiment with stuff. And that is also what I feel like Virtual DJ is. So I agree with you. I like to experiment with stuff before I actually create or product the mashup itself.
Yes, absolutely.
So it is a great idea.
So some people don't I'd say in the whole world of mashups, I'm probably me and actually who else? I don't know a lot of other mashup artists that use Virtual DJ, but just know that there are benefits to it. And by on my channel, I made, how many mashups did I make on my channel of Virtual DJ? I made,
I have no idea.
Wow, I made a lot. Let's see. 18, I made two, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I made 53 mashups with Virtual DJ, and
Oh, so you actually pressed record and
Yes.
like, oh, I never knew. What? Okay, hold up. That's like
it's terrible.
perfect. No, yeah, but it's kind of like I wouldn't guess it was from Virtual DJ where we pressed record and did it live.
Yeah.
That is actually interesting.
All of my
Okay.
all of my early mashups, they were all done live in Virtual DJ, and it was just a lot of hot cues and all that stuff. So
Oh,
you know,
I see.
my one of my most popular mashups, "Sweet Treasure," the Bruno Mars Kawhi Complex mashup,
Yeah.
like that was all Virtual DJ. So just
what?
know that Virtual DJ can make mashups, but you're gonna learn that software. There's software that exists that can do it so much better with no mistakes.
Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
So a lot of people, when they first start out making mashups, they don't use Virtual DJ. They just jump straight into Audacity, and it's quite intimidating because it's kind of like, I have these songs, but how do I get it in the speed? How do I? This is the best Virtual DJ, I believe, is the best way to learn the fundamentals of music because you can see the song structure. For example, like if I look at this instrumental here, okay, it's small here, it's building up to something, and that means this must be the climax. And then if we listen to it, okay, build up, climax. So you know you get to see and understand music structure and all that stuff, just the fundamentals. And then when you get the fundamentals down, that's when we can move on to like making mashups. The reason I'm a little bit too structured because the reason why I'm very kind of a little too overly formally structured with this tutorial is because I see a lot of mashup artists. They start and they get the fundamentals wrong, and then the mashups that they make years down the line are wrong. You know,
Oh, I see.
there's one mashup artist who can get things in key but can't get things synced up properly, and you know they haven't developed that ear to be able to detect that, or they don't know how to do it with their software. And you know, someone reached out to me and said, hey, I've been making mashups for 2 years, I like your stuff, I want you to listen to some of my stuff. And I listened to all of their stuff, and none of their stuff is in sync, even though they've been making stuff for 2 years. And I've seen a lot of, you know, mashup artists, they start with kind of like wandering in the dark, and yeah, like, you know, if they have the interest in it, they can clearly make great mashups. But the reason why I like to make it really structured is so that fundamental, it's very, very important when it comes to mixing music. You know, things like song structure, like for example, sometimes in electronic music you can take the chorus of vocals and put it in the pre-chorus position and it'll make sense. Sometimes it'll work like that. In structure, there's flexibility. Syncing is there's no flexibility in that. You need to get things in sync. Having things on beat, off beat, there's some leeway for that. You can start, you know, vocals a quarter count, or I mean, one beat earlier, one beat later. But of course, it's all dependent on how you interpret the music and how you want it to, you know, sound like. And of course, you know, when you're playing with mashups, you can adjust the volume, you can adjust the crossfader. If you want to make a mashup that has like a transitioning instrumental, you know, you can have an instrumental here and you can have an instrumental here, and then you can like crossfade it. So I'm just gonna what's the relative key to, okay, no, wait, so let me just here, I'll show you an example of a transition.
Okay. Oh, I see. Yeah, I can hear. I mean, here, rather.
And the reason is like all the beats align. That's why.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
you
and you see
actually
the
timed it together.
Yeah, the points. Yeah, so it's
Totally the point.
yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
And you know, you can even do stuff like mixing instrumentals together. For example, like, check this out.
Yeah, the thing is that I noticed that you didn't need to key shift it or
Yeah, you didn't need to pitch
and
it.
they change the beats per minute. Yeah.
Yeah, that's because I know that both of these songs are 128 beats per minute, so that was really easy. But when it comes to key, you don't actually need, like, drums, like very basic drums, don't have a key to them. Sometimes when you get more advanced, some drums will have a certain kind of tonal quality to it. But for drums, it's literally you can do whatever you want with it. There's flexibility, and you don't have to think of it as instrumental and a cappella. You can literally, maybe mixes is within your interest more, and you can play around with mixes and all that.
Yeah, that's the thing, because right now I'm just like kind of in a open field, and then and it's kind of like experimental ground I'm on, and trying different stuff and seeing like what works best and not.
And
drums and raps don't need to be pitch shifted.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes,
okay.
that is absolutely correct. Because sometimes, like when a singer is singing a note, they're having a specific note. Whereas with rap, some rap will have a key, some rap don't have a key. So for example, I'm just gonna play this a cappella. This doesn't have a key.
Life is like a man born blind buying jewelry, finding the best thing, singing the tomfoolery.
That doesn't have a key, because it's literally it's almost like talking.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but all melodic, like TLH says, all melodic elements should be pitch shifted to go together. Absolutely correct. And it's what we talked about, getting things in key.
Yeah. Okay,
right.
That makes sense. Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
cool.
So let's use this a cappella, and let's do happier. So for example, I can make a mashup like this.
It's like a man born blind buying jewelry, finding the best thing, singing the tomfoolery, knowing the best piece by the feel of the texture, feeling if the love radiates from the mess up. It's the flaws that tell us what's going on.
I can hear the compatibility.
Yeah, because rap is. That's why a lot of people will mix rap music for their first mashup, and rap music is a great learning tool, because the words, like a lot of the times, rap music will have words that fall on a perfect like count, like 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4, and that's how you can kind of gauge it, and there's a lot of good stuff with that.
So actually, that is interesting when you talk about raps now, because you I now forgot his name. God damn it. My what is it called? The DJ. Damn it.
What is it? A mashup artist?
No. I'm talking about like the Japanese guy who died, who made chill mashup.
Oh, Nujabes.
Yeah, Nujabes. Yeah,
Nujabes,
exactly.
yeah.
Usually, he have like, or the rapper, right? Rather, he raps, and like Nujabes is like mixing over him. But actually, in theory, you could actually take the same rap part and do like whatever, and then have it to another instrumental.
Yes, you can. That's why rap mashups are very easy. Make an MF Doom mashup. One of these, actually, I have made an MF Doom mashup once. TLH. It's very deep in the archive, but
MF Doom. Okay, yeah.
MF Doom.
Yes.
Yeah. So, for example, like if I just play. Okay, let me just pull up a Nujabes song. What? Okay. So,
Oh, actually, that's kind of like interesting. Let me actually. I don't have know about it. Just quickly here. Oh, is it? Okay, I understand now the point. Yeah, okay. Oh yeah. Chip the Ripper.
Yeah, see, that's why Chip the Ripper's popular. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
And the nice thing about the Chip the Ripper is you can clearly tell where the beats are.
Yeah.
Now, baby, I'm the Ripper.
So that's also why like Triple Q made one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, and you can clearly hear the beats.
Yeah.
And then
you cannot mistake it at all.
And this isn't actually. So let's just do a quick example here. So I'm gonna see, it says 88.98 beats per minute. I'm gonna like right click and say, hey, it's actually 89 beats per minute. And then I'm gonna make sure that the rectangles and squares line up. 1 2 3 4 1. Here's the 1. Also, this center line here is really good for kind of determining, where you're going to put your word aligned stuff. So let's just say I want my quarter here. See, now that is at the 1. Don't you guys don't know you guys knew this,
No.
but I made a beat for Logic to rap on before. Ah, cool. Very cool.
Interesting. Wait, what Logic? Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, Virtual DJ does auto beats per minute. It does. That's why I like it. Yeah. So see, like I put the the beats per minute. I mean, I put the first count there. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, and then you can just like.
This is gonna be fun. Okay, yeah, go on.
Okay, wait, that's a little tricky. But yeah, you can. There's a lot of flexibility. That's why a lot of people will make Space Jam mashups. That's why Space Jam was the biggest thing, because it's very easy to mix with.
Oh yeah, so that's also the reason why what is it called, like the not Mortal Kombat fighter game. Wait. What is it called again? I forgot now.
What song?
The Go Home and Be a Family Man. Yeah, what is that song? Wait, give me a sec here.
Okay.
That is like an old meme. Street Fighter, yeah.
Oh, Guile's theme?
Yeah, the Guile's theme. Like, there's a meme on that, like, Go Home and Be a Family Man. And, like, they made... And it is, like... There was, like, a... I don't know, what would you call it? Like, a genre of mashups. Well, they would say, like, usually everything goes together with that song.
Yes.
And usually, for example, Guile's theme is, like, going with every song. And, like, Space Jam is going with every song.
Yes.
So that makes sense.
Yeah, and because it's rap and it's rather easier. Wait, Dominator. How does it work with the browser there exactly? I guess it saves the beats per minute you put in there for Yeah. So Dominator. When I just use this, I just press spacebar to open up where. See, it automatically says, hey, this song is 166 beats per minute. This song's 150. This song's 140. Very easy to it guesses at the beats per minute, and it's very good at guessing. When it comes to guessing the beats per minute, it will get the beats per minute correct, I'd say 99% of the time. With Key, I'd say maybe it gets it correct 70% of the time, which is still very good. So for example, when you said Guile's theme, so let's try it right now.
Oh wait, that got me curious now, because like if Dominator didn't know about this, I'm like, how do you then make it?
Yeah. See, listen to the stream.
Okay, yeah.
Hold on, wait.
Oh my god, it's gonna be okay.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1.
Oh my god.
Yeah, see, there you go.
What is this black magic? Okay, yeah, I can hear it.
See,
that is insane.
Yeah, so I didn't even know this combination would work. I literally just threw it together, and hey, it kind of works, right?
What? Okay, yeah, okay.
No problem, Grey Bum. I'm just teaching commentator boy about the basics of music and virtual DJ. I mean, it's okay. So Dominator says he started out with
off key in Audacity.
Yeah.
That's so okay. But that is like you were told before. Like usually people just jump into Audacity and be intimidated by it. So I guess Dominator came through that, I guess.
Mm-hmm. There are a lot of tutorials on how to make mashups in Audacity. I'm not too fond of them, but they are serviceable. So the reason how people find the beats per minute, some people will literally just Google song beats per minute. So if I Space Jam beats per minute, it says, oh, it's at 132 beats per minute. That's how some people find it. Other people will have to go on something like BPM Tapper, and then they literally have to go.
No, oh my god, what? That's manual work. Oh,
yeah.
No, we shouldn't do that.
Yeah, so that's another thing.
Oh man.
Those are never
yeah, exactly, like Grey Bomb said. Yeah.
BPM Tapper's pretty good if you want to get the ballpark beats per minute, but then of course you got to play with it, right? I'm just gonna do I have
a frequently to the all 8 side. It seems like a legendary.
Yes,
side.
oh
my god, what?
All 8. Everyone knows that side.
8, what?
Yeah. So here's I'm just gonna here's
Oh
friggin'
my god,
really-
yeah, taps for beats per minute. Oh my god, what? I can play this. But I guess I would say it was pre-DJ virtual DJ era, but I guess it's not. It's
Oh,
just
virtual
like-
DJ's been around for a lot longer.
Yeah,
but-
yeah. I'm like, okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's okay. That's so fun.
See,
That's
look,
weird.
like to show how easy kind of mashups are. Like, see, like this sounds pretty good.
Mhm.
See, stuff like that.
Mhm.
You just get the vocals, and there are a lot of the times, like when you're first starting out, by all means, just get your vocals from like YouTube or Google or whatever. I can give you some websites later. But when you move on to like, if you want to do pop music, there is a lot of pop music acapellas out there. There's a lot of pop music instrumentals out there. You know, if you want to go into like Japanese music, you're gonna have to use Utago.
Oh yeah,
Utago,
that's
yeah.
exactly what I used. I wanted to find like a way to actually extract the vocals and such.
Mm-hmm.
And the new virtual DJ had one, but it's not that great. But Utago, I really tried my hardest to find a Utago like copy. And there
You
was like
are in
I
luck.
did, but I did find one.
Perfect.
And yeah, exactly. And that's exactly it. Like CG, I found his video, but what did I want? Oh yeah. I needed the English manual. I remember there was like a very old comment saying about yeah there was an English manual and it was not working on it anymore. But I was like, it could be interesting to see, because right now mine is all for you. It's probably all in like in question marks. But I actually
Yes.
have made my computer to Japanese, so I can see the Japanese text.
Mhm.
Not that I can read it, but it's more like it could be nice to see actually the like manual, what each button did.
Yeah.
Seriously, should make mashups on a DOW and users region.
So
Oh, yeah.
DAW, people just call it DAW, but it stands for Digital Audio Workspace. So
Oh.
virtual DJ technically is the digital audio workspace, but it's not like a legit one in my opinion. Like, you know,
Oh, so you mean like FL Studio?
FL Studio would be one, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Yeah.
you know, later, you know, when you play around with this more, I can teach you a lot of things with FL Studio for the sake of making mashups. And then at that point, that's when things get like there is a learning curve for FL Studio, but once you get it to work and once like, I explain the logic of how FL Studio wants you to think, it's very easy to make mashups at that point.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, in one thing I noticed, I don't know if any of you guys in the chat or you actually noticed it. When I play the button and it does the auto locking
Mhm.
on each the beat, you can actually double click it or double click on the play button, and it will switch, like shift between the different types of beats.
Really?
Yeah, try and do that, and try and press like the play button multiple times and see how it shifts the beats.
Oh, so you the reason why it shifted the beats is because you have the lock here. You have the lock above the play
Yeah,
button.
I know, but
Yeah.
I mean, like that was interesting because I was actually trying on my own to like figure out how the locking worked and such, and
Mm-hmm.
I pressed it multiple times, and I did like, and I saw like it actually reattached itself to some other parts of the beats, which
Interesting.
was actually nice.
Yeah.
So that was also a great way to synchronize stuff.
Now, sometimes, you know, like, for example, my computer doesn't have the correct, you know, the correct counts. So if I'm playing a song, I often go up here and I kind of click and drag it.
Oh yeah. But you can actually press the play button and it will actually try to do it yourself.
Yep.
Do it yourself.
Yep.
That's actually...
If you have your rectangles and your circles in the correct place, you just press it and it does it for you.
Yeah.
Another neat little tip is if you want, like, Virtual DJ is going to try to figure out what the key it's in. You can actually just right click on the key knob and it automatically tries to figure it out for you.
Oh.
In this case, it actually, you know, like for example, see, I just right clicked and it just figures it out. And it's pretty neat. Like, you know, you shouldn't trust it all the time. You shouldn't trust it all the time. Like, you know, go through with your ear, and later on I'll teach you music theory so that you can get things correct all the time. Like Mahado, he always claimed he was tone deaf. Tone deaf.
Okay.
And for years and years and years I said, Mahado, learn music theory. And through like multiple sessions of teaching him music, all of his mashups moving forward are now on key, and he actually does elaborate pitch shifting stuff. And now he goes into production, which is really cool, which you need to know, you know, some level of music theory for production. So, you know, it all starts from somewhere. And I think that when you use something as fluid as virtual DJ, because, you know, I always talk about, like, in streams, the difference between the product and the craft. The product is the end product. It's the end file, the end music. The craft is just all of the process that goes into it. And when you use virtual DJ, you're getting better at your craft. You're not necessarily making a product, but you're getting better at the craft. You're learning music, the structure, and how music wants to work. And then you take that knowledge with you, and then you bring it into, you know, bring it into whatever you want to do. Hold on. Is the music theory going to be streamed too? Grey Bomb, if you want to stick around till the end of this tutorial, I can teach music theory to you if you'd like. But yeah, commentator boy, I'm, you know, you're like this legend, and I have. This is the first time I've heard.
I have never felt like a legend before, but okay.
Everyone knows you. Everyone knows you, and it's always like, you know, even in what
Statusinator didn't know me.
Oh, but he doesn't know
But
the
maybe
state of the art.
Mashup.
The state of the art.
State of Mashup fan. I don't know. Yeah. It might be a good idea to actually chunk this out, because we don't want to like do another stream for like 10 hours and like for a whole tutorial 10 hours. I don't think that's a good idea.
Oh, Assassinator did know your name, but wasn't sure that was his voice. Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, but actually that's the state of Tash.
You see, Dominic knows it too.
Oh my god, yes. No, honestly, it kind of. I know it sounds cliche, but it actually is, because I've been through many of different types of mashups, tutorials, and many, as I said before, many of them say like, oh, yeah, I need to go to Audacity and do it like this and this.
Yeah.
But this is actually more straightforward and more like better to understand, because it is, you don't go into music theory from the start, because I tried to do that before, which was
tricky.
Totally hassle, and this makes more sense because this is more of a usage actually that makes more sense. Yeah, start with what you use and how to do it, and then go to the deeper part of it. Like,
yes, know the fundamentals first, and you know, all of this is like, you know, have fun with it. And virtual DJ definitely is like a have fun with it program, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Actually, right now, going through the Les Manga.
What a friggin'
his
genius.
album.
Yeah.
I'm going through his album right now, and I saw like his stuff. I'm actually trying to mixing Craving with I Buy That for $1. I'm trying to mix those together, and I did make it happen. It's kind of weird, but it's kind of interesting to see. But I can at some point show you at some point if I'm done with this.
Yeah, I find that, you know, like in the first several years of me making mashups, I was like running around with a chicken with the head cut off, right? Like I didn't know like what the hell is this, and I look at all these tutorials, I'm like, shit, I'm not learning any of this. I can't figure it out. But really, like, I find that it's best to learn mashups from someone directly, which is why you know, I made a tutorial video for you that you can look back on, but it's really the live stream that it's like you're in a classroom, and you know, it's like your own private tutor, I guess.
yeah. But I'm very honored that you would use so much time on like and an energy on like learning me, and hopefully many others during these streams about like mashups and how to do them, and
and they can look at this and because you know, I've mentored people in the past, and you know, like my desire to mentor people came from a very messed up place in thinking that I could never be good, so I wanted to train someone to be better than me. It comes from that place, but you know, seeing the results of where teaching people mashups one-on-one. Like M Dion, I taught him one-on-one from the start. Ensen, I've worked with a whole bunch of these mashup artists. I think Fjord. I've worked with Asparagus. I've worked with a whole bunch of these people. Even to an extent, Grey Bomb and Dominator and these guys. Like, we work together. Either through the live stream or through like questions or feedback, right? Because sometimes when people make mashups, they're just like, oh, what I made, it sounds really good, because they have that bias, they have that creator blindness. It only takes an outsider's perspective to say, hey, your baby has 6 toes instead of 5. It's a good learning process. Instead of uploading something, it's trash, and then you get better and more knowledgeable, and you look back, it's like, shit, I got that wrong. It's welcome to make mistakes here.
That makes sense. Like it kind of transfers to like many other types of like genres and types of work actually. Mm-hmm. Like even like right now I'm working on programming, and we are like, we coded like for a year ago, and like that year ago you can see like how bad the code is. Yeah. Until now you can look back on yourself, like seeing like how bad it was back in the days. So that I think like that mentality is like something you can transfer to other types of works.
Yes, exactly. So how visual arts, like someone painting or someone doing digital art or drawing on a piece of paper, exactly. It's an art, and the more because I describe design as an iterative process. It is a process in which things are repeated over and over, and you gradually get better and better. It's like you doing code. If you were, you do code a year ago, you do code now, you'll find areas to optimize within the code, because coding is an art form. It is an art form. Same with mashups. It is an art form. It requires, it's through making many, many mashups that you find the end solution, and things become a lot more apparent. And same with making music as well. Like musicians, musicians that are really good with music theory, they can just blast out music like that, and like really good music too. It's because they have a really strong fundamental, and it's because they iterate, they constantly design and design and design, and every progression, even if they don't know it, they are progressively getting better. And I want to make a comparison here. The same can be said about mashups. Oh, right. So the reason why I always say, the first thing that I said in this tutorial was make sure you have fun with music. And the reason why is because if you don't like what you're doing and you're making mashups just for the sake of, I want views, I want to do this, and it doesn't come, it's discouraging, and you're not doing it for fun, that means you don't design constantly. That means you don't iterate. And if you enjoy what you're doing, the more you do it, and the more you do it, the better you get. So if you want to make that state-of-the-art mashup, you have fun in the process, so that it keeps coming back. It's like, oh, I want to mix that Les Manga music song, with these vocals I found, and then you're playing with it, you're having a great time. It's like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna go back to this, but what if I try these vocals? And then you learn and learn and learn.
Yeah. Constantly experimenting.
Yeah, that feel when your code isn't.
That feel code is. Hey, it is. Come on, man.
Hey,
like I honestly like. Okay, maybe many of my colleagues and even myself, like I've seen like what I've done like previously many years ago until now, and see like what I've done before. I can totally see how much I could improve on my old code. But the thing is that this is also an experimental experience process, where at some point you're gonna have enough experience to actually know what you're doing wrong. Mm-hmm. And since this is totally new for me, I will also look back at this and be like, okay, I can totally see what I did wrong here.
Yes.
At some point, and that is something I hopefully will try to do all the time. And it is something that has sparked my interest all the time for many years.
Yeah, because you have the state-of-the-art mashup playlist. It has 800 mashups in there. That's how you know. It's like, oh, you clearly have an interest for this.
Yeah, exactly.
So
so
it's great to be on the producing end, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's fun,
and it's kind of a weird feeling now. I feel like I have all the power, but also like the power comes with a responsibility now. Because right now, I feel like, as you said before, like. Now you are having the mentor role, and you want to teach me how to do mashups, and now I feel like I need to not be better than you maybe, but if you want me to be better than you, then I feel actually obligated to be better than you now.
you do. So that was the old me, where I literally mentored people just so they could be better than me. But
I see.
But that was the old way. But the way I see it is that if you define what you want to do, maybe like, okay, let's look at someone like Gemboy. Gemboy's like, I want to make stuff that I like. I'll do whatever I want. I want to do visuals like this. I'll mix this song. Very carefree. Then, you know, that informs his design decisions. Like, oh, I want to put beats on this song. And then, by the way, when we go forward, I can teach you how to make beats as well. You know, he's like, oh, I want to make beats on this song. And then, you know, he takes that instrumental, puts the beats on it, puts vocals on it, and boom, you have a Gemboy mashup. It's because he defined his scope as being, I want to be carefree. If you look at Triple Q, I want to have, you know, really good stuff and I want to have joke stuff, but all of them has to be entertaining. That's his thing. You know, if you look at Naki Naiko, I want to have a damn good mashup that works beautifully musically. If you look at Shoopfex, it's like, I want to fit a square peg in a round hole. I want to, like, you know, I want to make this mashup work. I want to do as much editing, make it work. With me, I want to bring both all of the source material and still make my presence known and, you know, enhance it and give its own spin on it. So that's, you know, everyone has their own, or, you know, just someone like, I was like, oh, I want to make meme stuff. All right, cool. And then just like, oh, I want to make meme stuff. I want to learn pitch shifting. And then
for example, like Damon usually makes meme stuff.
Yeah, but then every now and then Damon will make a fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Like Centuries of Neverland. God damn, that is a phenomenal mashup. And, you know, even though, like, so here's the wonderful thing. If you listen to a Naki Naiko song, or you listen to Damon's song, like Centuries of Neverland, or a lot of other mashups, like, at first it sounds like song 1 plus song 2, but then when you learn more about editing, you'll realize how much they did to make it seamless like that. You know, some mashup artists will be like, I want to make songs that fit together. I don't care, you know, what source material I'm using. You know, that's an approach too. You know, so you know, a lot of times if you look at someone like Vitz, I don't know, do you know Vitz?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So if you want to be someone like Vitz, it'll be like, I love this series of entertainment. I think Senran Kagura or something like that. It's like, I'm gonna want to make 50 mashups with that. It all depends on how you define your scope, and I don't have a problem with that. The only time I have a problem with something is if they define their scope as like, I want to do this, and then they do something else and they don't like it and they keep doing what they don't like. That's the only time I have a problem with it. Peak anime.
It's peak anime.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's the only time I have a problem with it. You know, it's like some people are like, I want to make great mashups, and I'm like, hey, you know, maybe you could learn a little music theory. It's like, no, I don't want to learn any of that. And it's like, hey, maybe you could learn a little syncing. I don't want to learn any of that. Don't tell me what to do. Then, you know, they keep making the same mistake, and that's where I kind of have a little bit of a problem. But by all means, you know, you don't even have to have a direction. Like Gemboy is just like, I want to do whatever I want. Do whatever you want. And I think that when you work with mashups in a very flexible way and you focus on the craft rather than the product, it's very freeing in that it's like, hey, I want to put Space Jam over Guile's theme, and it's just like, yeah, I'll do that. It's like, oh, I like how this sounds. I'll make this into an upload, and then, you know, you make your mashup that way, right?
Yeah. Cool.
And another thing that I like to do is sometimes I like to sit down and try to recreate someone else's mashup. For example, like the tutorial that we did today is like a mashup that a combination that I literally took from someone else. And, you know, that mashup got over 3 million views. And it just goes to show like how, you know, a mashup can just, you know, it can bring a lot of meaning to people and the listener. And that's what's great about mashups.
But also the thing is that the spark of creativity happening because usually you would find songs that accidentally fit together, and it's for some weird reason they fit together well, and that is what actually I think have the spark of creativity in that way. That's what I feel like, at least.
Yeah, that can also be a thing. You know, sometimes you don't need that complex editing. Like sometimes you just like, my design decision is I want these two songs to be the best that they can be, and I want to take a hands-off approach. You can do that. Like, I mean, like I made a mashup called Safe from Rain, and that literally could have been made in Audacity. You know, you can literally just throw songs together. It's like, oh, this is my idea. And, you know, sometimes the editing doesn't need to be complex. Safe from Rain, not a very complex mashup, whereas Color Washed, very complex mashup. So there are a lot of different ways to kind of work with it. But with virtual DJ, you're just focusing on the combination. What sounds right? Do I like how this sounds? How can I make these songs sync up and all that?
It is just the basic stuff, just the experimental part.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, it makes much more sense. This is actually great. I'm having a blast here.
Yeah, this is a lot of fun.
This is a lot of fun. I don't know what to do. I have no questions. I don't know what to do, and I'm like, I don't want to keep on going with the tutorial because then it's gonna end like on 10 hours. Tutorial,
it's fine.
Which I don't want to.
I live by a very strong core philosophy. If you give time to me, I will give time to you. Which, that's why whenever someone comments on one of my videos, I will always reply because I'm thinking like, someone took out of their day a fraction of their life to say something nice. I'm going to take a fraction out of my day to say something nice back. That's honestly,
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like that is also why I really appreciate you having so much time and energy to put on to actually do this, because usually yeah, I like the Dominator. Just do it and just create the like very peak moment of the mashup. But yeah, like actually using your time and energy on like doing this. And the thing is that many people don't really appreciate this enough. And I honestly, when I say this, like I truly appreciate when you use time on this, because nobody would. I don't. Who would use time on me? And I know it sounds like a bit of a, I don't know, badness, self-hurting on myself, but like I'm almost like, I usually think like people won't use time on me to learn mashups. Who would do that in general? It's just so random. It's like something that nobody would do. In general.
Well, I mean, so it's like how does someone learn how to cook food? They learn from someone else, or maybe they use a cookbook. But that cookbook was written by someone else, right? I live by a few philosophies. If you give time to me, I give time to you. And if you are doing your best to learn, I will never give you shit. Like there are people that like there was this person a very, very long time ago. They wanted to learn how to make a mashup, and I spent 5 hours with them. This person was like 11 years old, right? I spent 5 hours saying like, hey, this is what tempo is. This is time signature. This is, you're using virtual DJ, press this button. You're using, and it's like, okay, you need to make sure that these, and at the end of it all, they made a mashup that was in sync that they were truly proud of. They don't make mashups anymore, but for that very moment, they were very proud of something that they did. It wasn't something that I made for them. It was something that they did, and that's where a lot of the pride comes in. And throughout the whole time, I don't give them shit because they want to learn. And I'll give patience to anyone who wants to learn.
Great, man. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, you just throw stuff together and it works. Like Giles' theme, like what you did actually here in this stream. Like you just throw shit together and then it works.
Yeah. I mean, that's how a lot of combinations are found, right?
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, a lot of times people will, because with me, you saw this was a very experimental approach, but some people, like, it's kind of like how Dominator said, Dominator started with Audacity, which means that they had to have Dominator would have had to think of something in their head, or his head, and put it in the project file, and then put the acapella that they think that would work. Yeah. And it's a little rigid, it's a little tough, but it's great. And if you want to learn, I'll teach you. The reason why I teach people is because I wanted to learn mashups from people that were in places that I couldn't reach. There are, sometimes if you go to really old mashups, I'll ask about certain things and just have no response. And like sometimes I'll be listening to a mashup and they're like, oh, I commented on this 5 years ago. Hey, I need help with this. Can you teach me how to do that? And just no response. And that's why I'm always like, I don't want to be that person,
Oh, so you put the acapellas on every instrumental microphone. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so see, like that's the kind of approach. I only realized last week that I haven't updated Audacity since it downloaded in 2014.
What? You haven't updated Audacity since 2000? What?
Audacity is free. I don't even.
But how wouldn't there be an update? Like, wouldn't there be a pop-up saying like, "Hey, yo, you need to update this"?
It's like, hey,
wait.
We want to do
now
something.
I'm questioning like if you're on Windows 10 right now.
It still works.
Version of Audacity. like that on my computer. Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah, I only use Audacity for converting MP3 to WAV files. That's it.
Yeah, that makes sense because Audacity is not for mixing; it's more for audio editing.
Yeah, but you could make mashups with Audacity.
Yeah. It's not that I'm saying, but like that's as Dominator probably thinks also. It's too much manual work. Too much manual work, and you can just use Virtual DJ to experiment it with it first.
Yeah. So.
That's recently upgraded to Windows 10 and didn't recognize it. Okay.
Oh, right.
Fair enough. Okay,
Yeah.
interesting.
I don't know. I just got the new computer and I just downloaded the most recent version of Audacity. I'm like, oh, this is nice, and then I'm just like, just leave it in the background.
Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
that's also what I did now with the Virtual DJ 21 actually. Have you seen the new features for the 2021?
I have used the newer Virtual DJ, and I have to admit I don't really like it because, like, if I want to change the key of a song, I have to go to a tab and go to either +1, +2, +3. I don't like seeing music like that.
Oh, that's fair. Because I saw like it had, you could extract, or rather you could remove like the instrumentals and bass and hi-hat and kick and vocals and such.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting to see that.
Yeah, I know at least 5 different ways to do exactly that with different.
Yeah.
So by all means, we can have a tutorial on that later. But you know,
But I actually felt like Utago was the best one out there.
Absolutely.
I've been on websites and I've done many things, but Utago is like one of the best. I tried to do this with the Grooving Magic, and it was pretty okay results. Yeah, it's true. It's still bad, but it's like okay results.
Okay, so I can explain how the logic behind how phase cancellation works, but Groove and Magic in particular, because I've worked with that a cappella before, it just doesn't extract cleanly for a reason.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Also, hey Fjord, yo mama,
Yo, mama.
yo mama, yo mama. Okay, anyways, so I'll leave you to experimenting, and by all means, if you have any questions along the way, you send me whatever. You know M. Dion's mashup, When the Runes Sparkle in September? I went through like 8 different versions of that mashup and gave feedback to every single one. So there's like, there's you can send me whatever, I'll keep reviewing it. Even like I've reviewed some of Triple Q stuff, Flipboy to Midlist. There's a lot of people that I've kind of reviewed their works in the early phases, and what do you know? Like, friggin' once Flipboy to Midlist showed up in stream, we reviewed